What is going on, everybody? We're here. We're live. A rare Monday night stream. Our schedule's been all over the place. I'm going to be honest. It's not the best way to go about streaming, just to be real, doing it on random nights. You got to have the schedule. You got to stick to the schedule, but was not able to do what we wanted to do yesterday. So I'm like, we gotta make up for it. We got to make up for it. So we got a Monday stream. Should be followed by a Wednesday stream in a couple days. Then we'll be back on track. We'll be back on schedule. Hopefully, that's the plan. But you never know. We gotta move with it sometimes. But good Monday evening. Making Monday great again, says Brandon. Maybe making Monday great again. I don't know if I've ever made Monday great to begin with. I don't know if I've ever made Monday great to begin with, but we'll try. We'll try to bring Mondays back. I'm not a big Monday guy. I ain't a big Monday guy. I'm not a big any day of the week guy, if I'm being real. But Monday, not fun. Mondays aren't fun. Start of a new week. Got to stream with Jay. I get a couple days off, and I got to stream with Jay again on daily. Not my favorite. Campbell says Monday's my only day off. Wow, there you go. That's nice. Nice t-shirt, says Sean. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes, just depends. Sometimes bullshit comes out, but we stick with this. Has Ryan spoken about the YouTube AI thing? A boy named Blue. Are you talking about the age verification thing? Is that what you're talking about? I haven't really talked about it much because I don't feel like there's too much to talk about. But it really, I don't think it's going to affect me very much. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but not too many young people watch this channel. To put it in perspective, the percentage of people that are under 18 that watch my channel, which has been labeled as not for kids since that was an option on YouTube, is 0.2%. 0.2%. And so I look, I have no idea how YouTube's going to do the age verification thing. I think it's going to be based on what you're watching. So if you're watching like real childish shit, maybe it'll think that you're younger than you are. I don't know. We'll have to see when it rolls out. I'm sure it'll be a disaster. I'm sure it'll be stupid. I'm sure there'll get people that'll get caught up in it. Overall, I don't think it's going to affect too many of my viewers. Assuming the stats are accurate. I mean, they are. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's my analytics that I can see about the demographics of my viewers. In the same way I know that 8% of my audience is female, like blah, 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 all that stuff. Are there going to be some people that get caught up in that are like maybe lying? I suppose, but I really don't think it's going to be very much. There is, again, the vast amount of people that watch my channel are not really shockingly around my age, right? 30s, some in their early 40s, some in their late 20s. That is the area of the people that are like the majority of my watchers. So I really don't think it's going to be that many personally. I hope not. I'm sure there's going to be people that get caught up in it and it's stupid and whatever, but I don't think there's a ton of super young people watching this channel. I don't think that'll really. Now there's a lot of people. I mean, all the like Minecraft YouTubers out there and like people like those people can be significantly affected by this shit. I mean, you look at Mr. Beast, right? Some of the biggest YouTubers like that. Decent amount of the people that watch them are younger, so I do think could have a pretty big effect on a lot of people. I just don't think I'm going to get caught up in one of those. I really don't think the channel is going to be affected too much. Luke Stone 23. Luke Stone's 23, probably one of the younger viewers in this channel. So look at everybody's putting their numbers down there. Everybody's putting their numbers down there. Should I tell you exactly what the numbers are? I'll tell y'all. Let's look. Let's see how many old people, how many young people we got watching the channel here. Open up Creator Studio, go to Analytics, go to Audience. Let's check out. I'm gonna look how old you motherfuckers are. Oh yeah, Gary's super old. Gary's very old. I saw Gary got top billing in that whatever the hell that. I'm gonna be real. I don't know too much about the different things that Gary does on Nerdrotic Live when it comes to the Forbidden Frontier and the aliens and the ancient societies, like all that stuff. But I saw he got top billing on. He got top tier billing next to some legends on something that's going on in December. I did see that. All right, let's look. So 56.5% of you, 56.5% of you are watching in the United States. Shout out to my viewers. 13 to 17 years old, 0.2%, a whopping 0.2%. All right. 18 to 24, big step up to 6.1%. 6.1. 25 to 34. Now we get into the chunks, right? Now we get into the big chunks. 25 to 34, 22.2%. 35 to 44, 30%. The biggest chunk of people that watch this channel are 35 to 44 years old. 45 to 54, 24.7%. 55 to 64, 11.9%. And finally, 65 plus years old. I saw some of you in there. I saw some of you 50 or 65 plus, 4.9%. Look at that. Look at that. So that's what it is. So I have no doubt there are a couple people that watch that may get something from that. I hope it's not too much, but I really don't think it's going to affect me too much. But I will say, look, if you get caught up in that or whatever, there are other places to watch. I always stream on Rumble as well. I see all my Rumble peeps in the chat. You can always watch over there too. So that is an option. That is an option. Should we see the biggest chunk of female? We can really get into some data here. The biggest chunk of females, 1.9% of the total user base, are females between 35 and 44 years old. Look at that. Jessica Lindstrom says, just popping over to say hi. Hello, Jessica. Hello, Jessica. I'm not going to ask how old she is because she's had like 1 million birthdays. Billy Loomis says female here, 36. Look at that. Bree would be in the, I think Bree is like 35. Is it 34, 35? How old is Brie Larson? How old is Brie Larson? 35. 35. So yeah. Shockingly, not a lot of young people watch this channel about me, bitching about diversity and shit like that. I know it's wild. I know it's crazy. Maybe if I put out some more YouTube shorts. I could get those young numbers up. I don't know. But hello to everybody. Happy Wednesday. Deeds, Minnesota, over on Rumble, gifts a subscription to Rado 2A. Thank you. Thank you, Deeds, Minnesota. Hugo for $5. I eat steak on Saturdays and sausage on Sundays. I call it Sausage Sunday. Does that sound gay? Jesus and Joe say yes. Sausage Sunday does sound a little gay, Hugo. Um, it might be the delivery. I'm not sure, but yeah, it does sound a little bit gay. A touch of the gay. Ladybug says I'm 26. There you go. On the younger end of our spectrum here. We got a very diverse crowd out here. And no, I saw somebody asking, does it say how many black people watch? I don't have access to that data. I don't think YouTube gives me that. Maybe I could find it if I dug deeper. Darth Ghostface. This AI age verification system is the worst thing YouTube's ever made. Knowing how their AI systems are shite, there's no doubt adult users will be falsely labeled as minors by it and will be required to submit their ID. I am sure there will be some people that get caught up in it. It's going to depend. Here's the thing. Maybe if people are watching like My Little Pony or some weird shit like that that you shouldn't be watching, like as a fucking adult, maybe YouTube will be like, hey, show your ID. You seem like you're a kid. And maybe that'll be like, well, I should stop watching My Little Pony. What is wrong with me? You know? On the flip side, if maybe Cole Hauser's just watching a bunch of old Transformers cartoons or G.I. Joe cartoons on YouTube, they might be like, hey, man, watching kid shit. See that ID. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't think I'm going to get caught up in it. We'll say that much. But thank you, Darth Ghostface. Lucifer, Diddy's YouTube channel may take a hit. Possibly. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. I think it's completely and totally unnecessary. I think it's dumb. I think that if you can put whatever fucking ban in place, show this ID, whatever. At the end of the day, people are still going to get their hands on that stuff. There's still going to be kids watching stuff that you're trying to prevent them from watching. Ultimately, the responsibility isn't on these platforms. The responsibility should be on parents to control what their kids are watching or instill values in them, and all of those things. That's the reality of the situation. And sure, is this going to prevent a higher percentage of people from watching something? I suppose it probably will, but it's certainly not going to stop them from watching what they want to watch, whether it's fucking porn or YouTube video, whatever it is. Darth Ghostface for another 20. If YouTube asks me to submit a government ID to prove I'm an adult, I will delete my account and stay exclusively on Rumble. You can't trust these big tech companies with your personal information. Risk your anonymity. Well, there you go. Well, like I said, Rumble is available for anybody that feels weird about that. So certainly that's an option for everybody, and I'd appreciate it if you kept supporting. I totally understand everybody's focus on not giving over information that you feel shouldn't need to be given to any of these companies or these corporations or anything. I totally sympathize with that. Me personally, I am, maybe it's just because I'm so fucking black-pilled and have been for so long. I assume that everybody's fucking spying on me. I assume that China knows everything that I'm looking at. I assume everybody in the United States knows exactly what kind of fucking things, websites I might be looking at, regardless of whatever I'm using, incognito mode, but whatever. That is just what I assume. I assume that they all fucking know everything about me, that every time I talk about something, then see a random ad on Instagram, I assume that everybody knows fucking everything. And at this point, I'm not too bothered by it for me personally. But I totally understand that a lot of other people do. As I've always said, if some Chinese communist spy for the CCP's monitoring my shit and is like accessing my camera and he just sees a picture of me jerking off to something, like that's what his job is, go for it, bro. I whatever. Whatever. I have just accepted that that's the way it is. So yeah, maybe it just is completely black-pilled. And look, I made the decision when I started my YouTube channel to not be anonymous, to have my name out there, have my face, all that stuff. When I started my YouTube channel, I decided I have seen way too many people from my history online, from in different different areas, different parts of YouTube, different parts of the internet, seeing people whose anonymity got exposed and it really fucked them up. It might have fucked their channel up. It fucked like, and I was just like, you know what? I don't even want to have to worry about that. So I'm just gonna say who I am and put my face out there and whatever. I know that that's not for everybody, and that can be a scary thing for people for a variety of reasons. But luckily, it's a decision I made a long time ago, and I'm really good with it. I'm really good with it. That one guy, do you have a movie you fall asleep to when you need to get to bed? For me, it's Ocean's 13. Ocean's 13, huh? Ocean's 13. I um I Ocean's 13 was okay. That's the one with Al Pacino, right? Yeah, that's the one with Al Pacino. You fall asleep to that, huh? Honestly, I do not. If I want to fall asleep, I used to turn the TV on and just keep it on until I fell asleep. I have stopped doing that. I've tried to start getting to bed at a little bit better time for me. Um, and usually I will put on some sort of like Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, something like that, like lore video or YouTube video or whatever. That's what I do. And I'll put that on a sleep timer and I'll usually crash out pretty quick. Or sometimes an audiobook. That's what I do. But Ocean's 13. It's funny. Cole Hauser, that was me that asked for the black percentage, Ryan. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, Cole Hauser. I do not have an answer for you about how many blacks are watching. TJ Crink for 5. If Microsoft does this, I'll call them idiots and tell them to look at my account's age. It can buy beer now. There you go. There you go, TJ. If your Microsoft account is 22 years old, that should be enough proof, right? You would think. Maybe you hacked that. Maybe you're 13 years old and you hacked that. I don't know. I Lucifer to accept your living address. Keep that private. Ultimately, like I said, if people are that desperate and desperately want, they can find it and will find it and have found it. It's just something you have to deal with when you put yourself out there and when you're willing to be public about that stuff. Does that make it okay? Does that make it cool? Does that mean, oh, that's perfectly fine? No, but it's also just a reality. Look, you guys know this. I go to several public events, highly publicized events a year where everybody knows exactly where I'm going to be. I feel okay. I feel okay. You know what I mean? Yeah, if people want to find something, they'll find it. And at some point, you can't worry about that. You can't have anxiety about that because you're never going to be able to fucking protect yourself fully. So for me, it's way easier to just say, I'll be all right. Can't worry about it. Ryan's gray hair for $2 says Ryan's gray 199. I found one gray hair. You probably can't see it just because the webcam quality and the lighting's not great, but I did find one gray hair up here. It was like, I didn't pull it around. I just left it there, but it's up there somewhere. It's still up there. I ain't going to pull that shit out. SC for 5. Ryan, we're also vets with a clearance. Very true. Uncle Sam already knows everything about us. Our perspective is different. That is, you are 1,000% right. That's probably one of the reasons I feel the way that I do about it. I've yelled my social security number down hallways before. Yeah. Yes. Pretty true. Pretty true. Oh, it says Ryan's gay hair. And then it says Ryan's gray. That's my mistake. Ryan's gay hair. Well, thank you. But then it says Ryan's gray. No wonder I got confused. No wonder I got confused. But yeah, that's the first gray hair I found. I have like sometimes I'll have a gray hair that pops up like right here in my goatee part of my beard. But that's about it. I'd rather go gray than fucking lose it. I mean, all y'all motherfuckers say I've been going bald forever. Unfortunately, it's just my terrible ass fucking hairline, big ass forehead. Runs in the family. But I'm sure at some point I'll fucking either lose my hair or something. I wouldn't mind just a nice coif of gray hair in, I don't know, 20 years from now. Not anytime soon. I'm not going to be one of the, I'm not going to be one of those people that dyes my hair. I'm not going to be one of those people that goes to fucking Turkey for a hair transplant. I just don't think it's that important. I'll enjoy it while I have it. And then if it goes gray, it goes gray. If it falls out, it falls out. And I'll probably, once it gets to looking bad enough, I'll probably just shave the shit. We'll be all right. Life will go on. Life will go on. Some of the Turkey people look crazy, like the people that go for the things in Turkey. Apparently, it's like really cheap there. I don't want to go to Turkey, especially not for them to do a bunch of surgery on my head. What the hell? You had started getting gray hair at 17. That's like superhero shit there. Yes, if I ever start wearing a beanie, then you could say I've gone bald. I wear a hat on occasion. On occasion. I have it is embarrassing how many fucking hats I have considering I never wear them. I never wear them. Every once in a while. But when I see people wearing hats, I'm just gonna be real. When I see people wearing hats on YouTube, my first assumption is you are bald under there, just like Jeremy. Now, Jeremy has such terrible hair. It would be less embarrassing for him to actually be bald than it would to have the hair that he has. I understand why he keeps the hat on. He should shave it. But he is unfortunately for him not going bald. But when I do see that, when you always see people with hats, I'm like, you're probably fucking bald. You're perfect the way you are. Well, that is very sweet of you. Not accurate, but very sweet. His hair looks like shit. It looks really bad. Ryan wear a yarmulke. No, I am good. I am good. It's not going to happen. Ronan for $2. You're looking like a well-groomed penis today. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Ronan. No higher praise than that, I suppose. And then also over on Rumble, Pugs4 with a gifted subscription. That was after Deeds Minnesota gifted one. He had to follow up on there. Thank you. And then Pugs and Rumble says, I laughed when they wanted my fingerprints for my concealed carry permit, like I care after being in the military. Maybe that is one of the reasons I feel the way that I do about it, just because, yeah, like they fucking looked at every aspect of my life for my clearance. You know what I mean? So all my shit's already out there. I will say, when I first started YouTube, and some of you guys know this, some of you guys have been around here long enough to know this. When I first started YouTube, I used my name, I used all that stuff, had appeared my face on camera, all of that. But I was still in the military, right? I was still in the military at the time. Now, there's nothing wrong with me having the YouTube channel and all of that stuff, but the one thing that I could not do while I was still in was essentially use that as advertising. I couldn't make it seem like the Navy was co-signing that or something. So I just didn't talk about that. I didn't tell anybody that I was in the military. I didn't do anything like that until the day I officially got out and separated. I did. Not because I could have really gotten in trouble for it so much as I just really did not want to get to the point where anybody thought I was using that to promote something or whatever. So that was the one thing I did kind of keep private. like about me. But that was about first 2 years or so. I got out in September of 2021. WG with a $50 super chat. $50 says your depiction of Jeremy's hair deserves financial backing. Well, one, yes. And two, thank you very much, WG. I appreciate it. Shout out to our man, WG. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Yeah, Jeremy's hair is fucking awful. How long were you in which branch? I was in the Navy for just like 11 years and 1 month. I can't believe it's Billy G's titty butter for my gray hair since 18. You know it's the food chain, fetish of a billionaire. It says River Miles. So you're talking about Bill Gates' fucking new tit butter that he's selling? Maybe. Maybe. No, you don't want to look at Jeremy's hair. You don't want to look at Jeremy's hair. I promise you. Promise you that. Should we talk about Fantastic Four? We probably should, right? Donate my hair? Fuck no. To donate hair, you have to grow it out a lot. I get a haircut about once every 4 or 5 weeks. It would be brutal for me to do that, I think. It would be brutal for me to have to grow out my hair enough to donate it to somebody. Hair ain't that important. I'm telling you, it's not that important that I need to like donate it to somebody. Who wants my hair? Why would anybody want that? All right, I think I've got these organized the right way. I Where's the I have to find. All right, here we go. Think I got it. Perfect. I don't know why that was so weird. And I wouldn't donate it anyway. I'd fucking sell it. Can I sell it? You can donate plasma. Or you can sell plasma. You get paid. Sperm banks pay you. Could I go get money for jacking off in a cup? Could I do that? If you do that, why can't I sell my hair? Sell my hair to I might sell my hair to a bald black WNBA player or something. Maybe I could do that. Sell it to Odin. Fuck. Fuck. Let the birds make a nest with it. Fuck the birds, bro. They can make nests with everything. Go to a black barbershop. I've been to a handful of black barbershops in my time. When you need to get a fade, sometimes, cut like some barbershop that has cuts ending with a Z is like your only option. That's happened to me before. I got some of the best haircuts of my life at black barbershops. Also, some of the worst haircuts of my life. A little bit hit or miss. What I go to now is mostly like Hispanic people. That's pretty much the one I go to now. And it's like a mix. I think you got some Mexicans, some Puerto Ricans, some Dominicans, like all up in there. That's when I go to now. And they're probably making fun of me the whole time. I can barely understand what the hell they're saying, but that's where I go now. When they ask, oh my God, laughing man. That's rough, bro. That's rough, laughing man. Holy shit. That is brutal. Speaking of brutal, Alyssa, Latinas have a love-hate relationship with me. We'll put it that way. We'll put it that way. But let's get to this. Let's get to Fantastic Four first steps off a damn cliff. Just like we see with every single Marvel movie released, the big lead up, the excitement, the hype that the mainstream media desperately tries to generate. Then the early access screenings come out and they tell you it's the best thing ever. Then the reviews come out. Then the opening weekend happens. And even when the opening weekend is weak, like it was with Fantastic Four First Steps, they tell you, oh my gosh, everybody, Marvel's back. Watch out. And it always ends up happening this way, where the second weekend falls off a cliff. And that is what we saw for Fantastic Four. But would it rebound in its third weekend? Well, of course it didn't. Fantastic Four First Steps crashes again at the box office in its third weekend. And keep in mind, this is after Bob Iger, just like he did for Thunderbolts when he talked about, oh my gosh, we're so happy with the success of Thunderbolts, blah, blah, blah. This is after Bob Iger does Damage Control, basically lies to everybody and talks about what a successful start to a franchise, a new franchise in the MCU that this is. Disney boss Bob Iger says Marvel's Fantastic Four reboot has successfully launched this important franchise into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The reality is this is another box office loser for Disney. And you can see right here, falls into third place at the box office, just under $16 million in its third weekend, a nearly 60% drop. So we had, a 66% drop in that opening weekend, 67% drop from opening to second weekend, and now another 60% drop. Theaters lowering as well. A lot of competition out there. Things that have been in the theater for a while, like Jurassic World and Superman, things that just came out in the last couple weeks. A lot of competition, crowded box office, but all that matters is what the numbers are. And the numbers are bleak for Disney, Marvel's Fantastic Four. In fact, now that we have 3 weekends worth of data, this is a movie that is going to struggle to hit $500 million. I think it'll do it. I think it'll get there, probably just a little bit above, but it is not guaranteed. It is now going to be a struggle for this movie to get to $500 million. This is one of the most legendary superhero teams that Marvel has access to. And yes, it is their first appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it is also pitched as the lead-in to Doomsday, this big, massive event where you're bringing back all these people. This was your lead-up. That's what it was pitched as. And these are the results. Now, I actually think that this is a much better movie than something like Captain America: Brave New World. I didn't love it or anything like that. I think it's slightly above average, like a 5.5 or 6 out of 10. That's how I feel about the Fantastic Four movie. But a lot of people have just said, fuck this. I'm done. I am done. That's what we're seeing at the box office. And when you really start to show how bad these legs are for Marvel, when you look at Thunderbolts, which certainly didn't open very well, that only opened to $80 million worldwide or something, didn't have as bad of a drop off, but that's its third weekend. It came in at 16.64 million, which means even though it started off lower, it had a better third weekend than Fantastic Four First Steps at the box office. If this thing doesn't get to 500, it's going to be really fucking embarrassing. But even if it does, they're going to try to claim, oh, our break even was 425. And, oh, with all these numbers accounted for, and, video on demand. But they're going to try to pretend like they're not losing money in the theaters, just like we're seeing a lot of people cope with other movies that are out there, including other superhero movies, and pretend that they're not losing money. When you look at what they spent on this $200 million production budget and $100 million marketing, that's what they've told us they've spent. I would probably suggest that it's higher than that because they lie about nearly all of their budgets. But Let's take them at their word. Even at that, it's a movie that needs to get to 600 million to break even. And there is essentially no chance of that happening. It's over for this movie. 500 million, that's going to be like the goal if they can get to that. And with everything that was built into this, with everything that people were talking about and promoting and connected it to Doomsday, all of these things, it is another massive failure this year for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 3 movies released, 3 flops. Not good when it comes to Marvel fatigue. Great soundtrack, though. Fantastic Four. I mean, it was good. Soundtrack Giacchino was really good. Tommy Campari. If you sold your hair, could you get implemented in a crime? Maybe that's an easy way to commit a crime and introduce doubt to court, hypothetically. Ah. So maybe science has advanced, but if I say I take my hair right here and I just cut it off there, like just the tips of it basically, can you get DNA from that hair, or do you actually need the hair follicle? Like the whole thing of hair. You know what I'm talking about? So if I cut my hair, I grew my hair out and then cut it and gave it to somebody, I don't know if that would actually have DNA. I think you need the follicle. That at least that was my interpretation of how it worked for crime scene processing 20 years ago. I don't know. There might have been some advancements. I'm kind of old now, guys. I'm kind of fucking old now. Ask a doctor or scientist. Well, is there a doctor in the house? I'm not one. Metroplex for $99.99. That is $100 fucking dollars. $100. And you know what? I never gave WG the clap either. So clap for WG for 50. Thank you, WG. 2 claps. Metroplex for $99.99 says, hi, Ryan. Would you agree that underperforming superhero films are due to anti-America fatigue? So what you mean by that is people are tired of America being kind of a forgotten part of things that where America should be a big part of it, is what you're talking about? People are tired of anti-American shit. I rewatched OG Ghostbusters, Superman, Iron Man, and Spider-Man and noticed they all celebrate America, even with conspiracy plots. I saw Fantastic Four and felt it avoids USA. Love. Cheers. Well, look, I think that Superman glaringly attempted to avoid that shit. Fantastic Four, I didn't feel so much that way about Fantastic Four, mostly because it's set in this alternate reality, this retro futuristic type of thing, right? Kind of like Jetsons. So for me, I didn't feel like it was absent. In fact, I kind of felt it felt like they were trying to give you 50s or 60s vibes in this alternate world. So I certainly would say it's not present, but because of the way that the movie set up, it didn't feel like it was missing, if that makes sense. But I don't know how much can be blamed on that. I do think when you have characters that are supposed to represent that, whether it's Captain America, whether it's Superman, whatever, that people are used to seeing them represented that way, when it's missing, it does feel glaring. It does feel glaring. But I don't think that all superheroes are tied to that. you know? Not necessarily. But thank you for the $100. I think people are more just tired of bad movies, and when there's so many superhero movies that are coming out, and you have so many other options of stuff to watch, it's all of these factors combined. To try to place it on just one thing or another, I think is not, like, not realistic. Hey, Ryan, I know it's still 8 months away, but are you planning on going to MegaCon next year? Well, considering MegaCon's, only about 20 minutes away from my house, probably. I will probably be there with 99% likelihood. Yes, Raging Rhino. Ryan is right. Be careful sharing your personal information, Ryan. There's some real crazies out there. Also, that gray hair was likely mayonnaise. Well, look, it's not like I'm advertising. It's not like I'm telling. It's not like I'm fucking blasting it out. I'm just saying that you have to have some understanding that weirdos will go to extreme lengths and you can only do so much. So I felt like I've done what I can, but I also can't. But I know there's people. I know there's people that incessantly watch every single thing I do. Right? I know that there's people. I know there's people right now lurking in this stream that have been watching me for years. Maybe sometimes they were a fan, and then something happened that turned them against me. You turned her against me, right? Something that turned them against me, and now they just fucking despise me, and they will try to fuck with me. And I know those people are out there. That's fine. Thank you for contributing to my viewership. Only so much you can do. I Lucifer for 2 Australian. Fantastic whore. Galactus sodomizing Sue Storm. Jesus. That's not the movie I watched. Like that would kill Sue Storm. That would kill Sue Storm. Now, if Galactus sodomized Reed Richards, he'd probably be okay. I mean, maybe not mentally. I mean, Pedro would be all for it. That's like right up Pedro's alley. He probably does that every fucking night. But the character, Mr. Fantastic, he would survive it. He would survive taking Galactus's massive cock in his ass. But he might be pretty mentally fucked up from that, you know? Have to imagine. Seth Green saying you turned her against me as fun. Oh, as Chris, you turned her against me. I can't do a good Chris impression. I'm not even gonna try again. Eric John Pizza Artist for 199. Gay guys have frolicles. That's pretty good. I saw a couple of people saying their Google searches said that my follicle theory was correct. AI bro. I think it's AI bro media or Al bro. I'm gonna say AI bro. Sup, Ryan? What would you rate weapons on a 1 to 10 scale? Also, did you see Osgood Perkins, The Monkey? That movie was trash. Long Legs was much better. I didn't see The Monkey. Weapons. Um, 7.5 maybe. I maybe 8. I really enjoyed most of it. The criticisms I have aren't really. They're very much like personal preference type of thing. Which I don't want to get into spoilers or anything, but there's a scene at the end which is close to the end. there's a scene in the last, 15 minutes or so, and there's been a lot of lead up and build up, and it's a pretty serious situation and all that shit where something is done and it is supposed to be humorous. And it goes on for a little longer than I expected. And a lot of people in my theater laughed and they thought it was funny. I didn't I didn't really think it was funny. And I thought it was I just didn't like that tone at that moment in this movie. There are a couple things throughout the entire thing, little lines from characters during dialogue that are delivered that are kind of funny, right? Make you chuckle or whatever. And those are perfectly fine. Those are just people being people, whatever. This scene specifically at the end, I really I did not like it. And I think that's going to be a point of contention. Some people are just going to stylistically going to like that. Some people aren't. I didn't. But yeah, it was pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. I would recommend it. I'm not talking about the repetitive thing, AI bro media. I'm talking about because I was actually cool with that because that was a certain level of haha, whatever. I'm talking about immediately in the aftermath of that and how the whole situation gets resolved. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Eric John Pizza Artist for 199. Right up Pedro's alley is accurate. Very accurate. Yeah, it is. Right up Pedro's right up Pedro's poop shoot, basically. Meat Snack on Rumble says Ryan couldn't take one step in my girl Angel's shoes because he'd know what it's like to be denigrated by dildos. Wow. You talking about Angel Reese? I'm sure Angel Reese knows her way around a dildo. It can't be that bad for her. Accident Seller, Sheriff Pepper from Roger Moore's Bond movies, or Sheriff Buford T. Justice from Smokey and the Bandit. Which one do you like the best, Ryan? Well, I have a special place in my heart for Sheriff Pepper, who just always showed up in those random fucking places. Randomly on fucking vacation while James Bond. It's so the Roger Moore era is so hit or miss, but it is just a different tone. It is just a different, little more goofy tone. But I mean, I can't deny the greatness of Buford T. Justice, who right after Accident Seller sends a $50 super chat. $50, says Buford. Do we really have a lot of options? I used to go to the movie theater all the time. I rarely go now, and it's the same with TV shows. Most of the content being made is pure horseshit. Wokeness has destroyed entertainment. Well, what I mean by options isn't necessarily, oh, look at all the different movies that are out. What I mean is what you're doing right now. 20 years ago, the way you consumed entertainment was, you had radio, right? You had radio, which you flip it on, you start listening whenever it is. When you turn the radio off, you're done listening to that. You had television, which sure, once they started, 20 years ago, once they started coming out with DVR and TiVo and things like that, I could record the show and watch a little bit later, but most of the time you're still watching the things that are currently on at that specific given time. You do have home video and DVD, and you had movie theaters, right? This is in the beginning era of the internet starting to become a big prevalent way for people to get entertainment with YouTube, like whatever, 20 years ago. Now, I think that most people probably consume just as much like YouTube or listen to a podcast or whatever that may be as they do entertainment from Hollywood, whether that's streaming, whether that is going to the movie theater, whether that's, watching a movie that you bought, whatever. So just that in and of itself is a totally different world. And that's what I mean by you have more options. I don't just mean that instead of going to this movie, you can watch this TV show. But when you put on top of what I just said, when you put on top of everything being so easily available at your fingers, where, okay, I don't have to wait till Tuesday at 9 p.m. for this next episode of The Flash on CW to watch. I have fucking tens of thousands of options for any series that I want to watch at my fingers for instantaneous. I can watch it whenever the fuck I want. Like, it's a game changer, right? So when people have all of that shit combined with the outside of the mainstream entertainment sources that they have, you got to convince them to go. They're not just going to go because it's what we do. You got to convince them and give them a reason to go on the AMC app, book a couple seats, drive 30 minutes, wait in line for popcorn, like do all of that shit, watch 30 minutes of fucking previews to watch a movie. At least that's kind of the way I see it. So I don't just mean content from Hollywood in terms of the more options, you know? And, you know, as bad as some of the stuff that's out there is, because if you have Netflix, you have access to like fucking 70,000 shows or some shit. You can find shit on there that is good. You can. Especially with all these damn streaming services out there. Or you can go back and watch shit that you do like from the past. But thank you, Buford T. Justice. My man. Well, speaking of my man, Lion Mane Man for 5 gun glazers are crying on Twitter about the box office. Oh, yes, James Gunn, the epitome of truth. James Gunn, who, again, when the official tax documents from the state of Ohio came out, and he's like, whoa, that can't be real. That must just be something an intern filled out. There's no way we did that. Now he's like, no, there's no way that that's accurate about the box office. There's no way we need to make that. And here's the thing that actually does bother me about the whole James Gunn Superman like thing is, if you look at Fantastic Four and you say, okay, well, that might not break even theatrically, but because of video on demand and streaming and merchandise, it'll probably break even in the long run. Okay, you can have that argument if you want. Those are like those are the arguments that are being put out there for Superman, but those arguments would never be accepted for a Disney Marvel project. You know what I mean? That's one of the bothersome things to me. Like a Disney Star Wars project, whatever. But I have seen a lot of that out there. Angst Kitten for $5 says, did you see the news that Harry Potter season 1 will be 8 episodes and the show will continue for 10 years? Any chance they can pull that off? Well, you know, they pulled off the movies in 10 years. There was some people that there are some people that kind of twisted that reporting. There are some people that twisted that reporting to make it sound like they're going to do 10 seasons. I believe what they mean by that is they're going to do 7 seasons over the course of 10 years. Right? That's the goal that they're going for, right? In the same way that we had 8 movies over 10 years. Now, I think that you're going to have to expand. I think it's going to be a very difficult thing for them to do because it's a lot. I mean, we look at these shows like House of the Dragon or whatever that are massive productions that coming out once every 3 years. And it's not just solely that. We're talking about a lot of these fucking shows. It's going to be a grind for them to do it, but there's also part of it where they have to do it, right? Because the kids are going to age up. You know, there is an element of it that there is that pressure on you that you have to fucking do it. So that might be a little bit more motivating. And unlike a lot of other like you have the exact template that you're gonna fucking play out, right? You have the exact template. Now they're gonna make some changes for screen, of course, but you have the exact template. You have all 7 books, blah, blah, blah. My guess is that you will see seasons 1 and season 2 come out 1 year apart. Because I think those books are going to be fairly straightforward, and I think they're probably going to film them almost back to back. Then we're going to start seeing when you get to Prisoner of Azkaban, especially Goblet of Fire, because if this is eight episodes, Chamber of Secret will probably be 8 episodes. Prisoner of Azkaban, I think you could do in 8 episodes, but then Goblet is going to be a different story. Then you start getting into Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix, which have to be longer, right? Which have to at least be 10 to 12 episode seasons. Same with Half-Blood Prince and Death. So that's where I think you're going to start to see a stretch. Maybe these first couple, they can get done, release one each year because they're going to be filming them all the fucking time. For the other ones, I think that's when you're going to see it maybe get spread out a year and 6 months apart, 2 years apart. That's where I think you're going to start to see the slowdown. But they've only got... There's a point to where they have to do it. There's so much money riding on it. And everybody understands the expectations. Everybody understands what they're committing to and the workload associated with it. So I think they'll do it. I still feel like they were so fucking lucky for Harry Potter to do what it did at the theaters. To adapt an incredibly well-loved book series, make 8 movies in 10 years, have them all be financially successful, have them all be none of them are critically panned or are panned by the audience. All of them are pretty much, yeah, it's pretty good by both the critics and the audience. It's fucking wild. Both book readers, who obviously we have our critiques and they're very valid about the critiques, but both book readers and people who had never fucking read the books before liked the movies. It's kind of crazy. It is a huge accomplishment. A huge accomplishment that I don't know how that happened. Twilight was fucking 4 movies. Twilight was 4 movies. That's a different story. And also in terms of, I don't know if those movies were necessarily as well received by everyone, you know? Chaos Merchant, have you seen Bo DeMayo's recent tweet detailing his experience with Marvel on X-Men 97 and Blade? Quite revealing. Quite revealing, just like Bo DeMayo's OnlyFans. I'm going to talk about that, actually. That's what's in the title. Marvel Slam by Ex-Showrunner. I'm going to talk about that. I have it pulled up. Maybe we'll do something else before we go back to Marvel again. Whenever you have somebody like Bo DeMayo, who was fired by Marvel and used his identity as a black gay person to say that's the reason I was fired, blah, 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 and obviously has an axe to grind, there's always going to be some, okay, I'm listening to what you're saying. There could be a lot of shit here, but I also have to know you have an axe to grind. The way Bo DeMayo was fired seems strange. This does, but we will talk about it. We will talk about it. One thing you have to say about Bo DeMayo, though, is regardless if there was any validity to the reason for his firing and stuff that was going on, like whatever, blah, 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 his OnlyFans, all this shit, right? One thing you can say about him, and I think with full and complete confidence, he cares about the source material, which is more than you could say for a lot of other people. right? He does. We saw that on when he worked on The Witcher. He was one of the people that apparently had a problem with some of the things they were doing with the source material there. He is passionate about the source material, which is a good thing. But I do just think you have to keep in mind, like, where it's coming from, some of this stuff. Deeds, Minnesota. Have you talked to Gary about reading Harry Potter? He was in the live stream earlier. I haven't talked to Gary. No, we got to do it. We got to do it. Al Bro Media. It looks like AI with my font, man. What am I supposed to do? It looks like AI. Al Bro Media for 5. It's Al Bro. Half Blood Prince is the weakest movie to me. Really weird color grading too. Never read the books. Was an accurate depiction. Half Blood Prince is so Half Blood Prince and Goblet of Fire are the two worst adaptations by far, and it's not even fucking close. The book is phenomenal. My two favorite books happen to be Goblet of Fire and Half Blood Prince, and those movies are the worst. The color grading, whatever. If the color grading was like that, the sepia fucking tone, which is annoying throughout the entire movie, if that was just the tone of the movie and they had a bunch of good shit in there, I wouldn't be bothered. But so much of what is important in the book doesn't get either any or enough screen time. Harry and Ginny's relationship is done fucking terribly. And I can't blame Bonnie Wright or Daniel Radcliffe. You got to blame the writers and the directors and everybody behind that. It was just fucking awful. They don't delve nearly as much into Voldemort's or Tom Riddle's backstory, which is one of the coolest things about Half-Blood Prince. Like, you get to see a little bit of those memories. There's probably about 3 or 4 times as many memories in reality in the book as they show you on screen. It is just, it's bad. With that being said, you get a great performance, from Dumbledore in it, where I think he finally, Michael Gambon, who takes over in Prisoner of Azkaban after Richard Harris dies. I think he finally found the right balance with Dumbledore. That is his best performance as Dumbledore. You've got the kind of outlandish, fucking yelling, screaming Dumbledore in Goblet of Fire that really isn't a match with his character at all. He's somewhat absent, in Order of the Phoenix, intentionally so, because of the connection between Harry and Voldemort, all that stuff. I think he finally nailed it, the balance between imposing and respected and sometimes a little bit intimidating and strong Dumbledore with the quiet, measured, thoughtful, joking at times Dumbledore. I think that was the one where he actually nailed the role for the first time. And it's unfortunate that it's in a movie that has so many problems. Accident Seller for 20. The Spy Who Loved Me is Moore's best Bond movie. Spy Who Loved Me. You're not a Moonraker fan? Not a Moonraker fan? The Moonraker sucks. East Coast Toasty Boy for 2. Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? As he slams him up against a wall. So the reason that clip, the reason East Coast Toasty Boy said it like that is because that has become such a big meme from that movie, because in the book, it says, like, he turns to Harry and says, Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? Dumbledore said calmly. Like, it's from the fucking book. Like, that's what it says. And in this one, he's like irate and yelling and slamming Harry up against a fucking wall and shit. It's really weird. It's really weird. Dumbledore said calmly. Exactly. Me and Gary do need to do our Harry Potter thing. I have so many things to say about Harry Potter. The Sith Archives, yes, but that's why it's great to watch since you wouldn't expect that if you read the books and it wasn't the exact same. It's a great take and the movie simply went a different direction. I disagree, the Sith Archives. It is completely and totally out of character for Dumbledore to do something like that. So you can say that, oh, it's great, it's unexpected, it subverts your expectations. That doesn't mean that that's a good thing. When something happens that you don't expect, say this. Say, The Departed, right? Great movie, right? A lot of twists, a lot of subversion of expectations, things like that. But it all makes sense with the characters and the way that they're set up and like all this shit. If all of a sudden, um, Matt Damon's character in The Departed, right? This fucking like kind of gangster cop movie, all this shit. All of a sudden, Matt Damon's character shot fucking laser beams out of his eyes and chopped off Jack Nicholson's head. And then he took off and started flying around the world and went into space and went onto the moon and fucking sat there on the moon and thought about things and looked at Earth. That would certainly subvert your expectations, wouldn't it? It would also be fucking retarded and make no sense. Yeah, they took it a different way, but it does damage. It doesn't make sense. So just because something takes something a different way or subverts your expectation doesn't mean that that is a good thing. And it's not a good thing to rely on when you're telling stories either. Um, when I read a book and they adapt that thing into a TV show or a movie, I want to see the thing that I love on screen. I think that's how most people feel. It's why you like that thing. That's why they're adapting that thing, because people like it. So when you start changing things for no fucking reason, right? And I get it. There's some things that when you get down to it and you're trying to fit all this in and you're trying to fit a 12-hour book into a 2-hour movie, yeah, there's some things you might need to massage and change. And, people are understanding of that. But most people want to see that thing as close to the thing that they love as possible. I, Lucifer, Richard Harris, the perfect Dumbledore, his smile. You know, I I think that Richard Harris has had a really good vibe for Dumbledore. I do question, especially for the first couple books, I do question whether Richard Harris would have been able to pull off, especially at his age, would have been able to pull off some of the later moments, some of that intensity, some of that ferocity at times. Not when he's asking Harry about the Goblet of Fire, but when he's like at the end when he barges in there to fucking, get Barty Crouch Jr. like at that final little confrontation. Would he have been able to realistically, believably pull off the duel with Voldemort at the Ministry of Magic? Right? Would Richard Harris have been able to put forth that in his condition? And I just don't know if that's the case. I do agree. He was perfect for the parts we see of Dumbledore before we really get to know the character all that much in those first 2 books. I do think he was really good for that. Which Bond movie has the best intro song and credits? Credits, I don't know. Intro song, look, I've always loved Live and Let Die. I've always loved Live and Let Die as a song. Um, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I'd have to rewatch all the Bond movies. BPB80 for 5. Now I need to see Matt Damon with lasers in his eyes. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, that would certainly subvert your expectations. That'd be unexpected. Accident Seller. I don't need love. For what good will love do me? Diamonds never lie to me. For when love's gone, they'll luster on. Hey, diamonds are forever. Diamonds are forever. Throw your diamonds in the sky if you feel the vibe. The rock is still alive every time I rhyme. Do I think they'll have what? Do I think they'll have aliens in a Bond film or time travel? No, Golden Age. I fucking hope not. Why would that happen? Why would that be a thing? Why would that be a thing? Need a switch. Got my other cup here. That's a lot of water. They did that in Indiana Jones. Well, Indiana Jones does have elements of supernatural shit, right? Whether it's the Ark of the Covenant, whether it's fucking like demonic forces and like doing ritualistic things and pulling the heart and it's still beating out of somebody, catching on fire. Like Indiana Jones already has that established. It has a holy grail, right? That is let this fucking night live on forever. You have elements of supernatural shit in there already. So as much as I don't like the aliens thing, it's not like that is, oh, we've never seen anything supernatural happen in any James Bond thing before. But no, we should definitely not do that. Should definitely not do that for Bond. Lion Main Man, Ryan, they delayed Shrek 5 to some month in 2027. I hope they change the animation back to the classic look. I hate to break it to you guys. The delay has absolutely nothing to do with them changing the animation style or changing the story or anything like that. They're doing that to get away from Avengers Doomsday. Like that's why that's happening. They're doing that to get away from Avengers Doomsday. I also think Dune is supposed to release around the same time, right? Dune. Yeah, December 8th. Dune is also supposed to release around the same time as Avengers Doomsday. So there's been a lot of talk about who is going to move, like all that stuff. Die Another Day's hands down the worst. Isn't that Madonna? Doesn't Madonna do that one? I low-key like that movie. Madonna's in that movie as the fencing instructor. But yeah, the song is trash, unfortunately. Yeah, Holly Berry's in that one. Jinx. Right, that's her name. I think that's her name. She got that orange suit, kind of the same suit from Dr. No, the fucking orange suit in Cuba. I there's so many problems with that movie, but I actually really like it. Think D-Day never gonna happen like Blade? But Doomsday is 1,000% happening, no question. 1,000% happening. Um, they're paying too many people way too much money for it not to happen. They've spent way too much money on it already for it not to happen. It's happening. Madani's delayed with plastic surgery. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no shit at this point. God. Should we talk a little bit about Superman? And I don't mean the one that's in theaters. I'm talking about Dean Cain. Ava Green, hottest Bond girl. Oh yeah. I mean, I think Casino Royale is. I think Casino Royale is one of the best Bond movies out there. And I think it was the start to what could potentially have been fucking awesome for the Daniel Craig run, and I think they really butchered it. um, I think they really butchered it. You thought I was going to talk about the Superman movie that's in theaters? I fucking burned my. I don't know if you guys can see that. I burned my hand yesterday. See that around my wrist? I fucking burned my hand, my wrist, on a fucking crock pot of all things. Like the gayest thing you could burn your hand on. What are you gonna do? All right. Let's talk about Dean Cain and about Superman deporting people. Let's get to it. With Superman in the theaters, it certainly made a lot of headlines, but so has another Superman actor, and that is Dean Cain. A couple weeks ago, he had his thoughts on Superman go viral before he had even watched the movie. People were taking all of his words and spinning it in every way they possibly thought they could. Well, now Dean Cain is in the headlines for a different reason. It's because he's decided to say, hey, you know what? If you care about this country out there, you want to do some good, think about joining ICE. Think about joining ICE. And Dean Cain, of course, woke Hollywood not happy with that at all in any way, shape, or form. Superman Dean Cain to join U.S. immigration and customs enforcement efforts to save America. Now, this started off as Dean Cain, after they made some changes in terms of the age limits and waivers and things like that to be able to join ICE, Dean came out there and said, hey, we need your help to protect. Go think about, consider joining ICE. They got great benefits, potential signing bonuses, things like that. And there was so much pushback and backlash and all of that stuff to the simple message that he put out there. They said, you know what? I'm going to fucking join him too. Now, also to put this in perspective, Dean Cain is, I think he's an honorary sheriff's deputy. I think he's a reserve police officer. Like, he has done things with law enforcement for well over a decade now. So it's not exactly like out of the ordinary for him to be supportive of something like this. But some people could not fucking stand it. You saw it being covered on late night shows, getting blasted, blah, 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 all this stuff. The reality is Dean Cain, openly conservative. People absolutely despise that, including openly woke liberal John Leguizamo. Dean Cain takes the high road after John Leguizamo calls him a loser for volunteering as an ICE officer. Actor Dean Cain took what only could be called the super high road after actor John Leguizamo trashed him over the weekend as a loser for the former Superman actor's plan to become immigration and customs enforcement agent. Now, Dean Cain has taken the high road when it comes to all of this stuff. He's taken it in stride. He's having fun with it. He's not taking it too seriously, which is probably the way to go about this. But you can see John Leguizamo right here. They used, Hollywood Reporter did not do John Leguizamo many favors with this picture. Is this the best picture you could find of him? He's on a red carpet, so obviously he was just to impress, but holy fuck, he looks like he's been on a bender. He looks like death. I mean, his teeth never really look good, but his hair looks all fucked up. He looks rough in this picture, but maybe he just looks rough all the time now. He looks like he's in the fucking bathroom or something. I don't know where he's at, but He just had to put it out there, a little recording of his thoughts on Dean Cain.
What kind of loser volunteers to be an ICE officer? What a moron. Dean Cain, your pronouns are has been.
Now, that is ironic coming from John Leguizamo, who's, I guess his biggest claim to fame recently would be that he continues to be what Sid the fucking Sloth in those Ice Age movies. I mean, what else has John Leguizamo really been doing lately? I don't know. So I guess it's ironic to pull out that. But John Leguizamo is not the only person in Hollywood that is furious at this. How dare someone inspire someone to join law enforcement? How dare you do that? Don't you know that these people need to be protected? Well, until they decide to send immigrants to, I don't know, all the rich elites up in the Northeast. I don't see too many of the people in California, in Southern California, in the Hollywood Hills, in Beverly. I don't see too many of those people opening their doors to all the illegal immigrants. I mean, you might pay them to, I don't know, cut your grass or something, but you don't want them in your house. We've seen this time and time again, like the hypocrisy from the Hollywood elites. And, Dean Cain puts a nice message out there inspiring people to do some good. And like I said, it's not out of the ordinary for him. He's done things with law enforcement for a very long time. Honorary sheriff's deputy, reserve police officer for over a decade at this point. This is right on brand for Dean Cain. And I met Dean Cain once, had been on a handful of streams with him. Nice guy, cool dude. He's been great to me. But the meltdowns from people in Hollywood over this, very, very predictable and not exactly surprising. Not exactly surprising. Oh, John Leguizamo. Accident Seller, Surrender by Katie Lang. It's my favorite. It's at the end credits. I can't say I'm as familiar with the end credits songs. Can't say I'm familiar. Best Bond girl, says Gabriel Knight. Eva Green was a good one there. I mean, if Anna de Armas had more of a fucking role, she could have stood out there too. Can you really beat like one of the OGs, Pussy Galore? Like, what a fucking name that is from Goldfinger. Pussy Galore. Bond, did Bond force himself on her? Probably. She clearly wanted it though. I mean, what's wrong with that? Little roll around in the hay. Ursula? Yeah. Like, what a fucking name, dude. This is in the 60s. Her name is Pussy Galore. Xenia, yeah, she's pretty fucking hot. Where can I get that shirt? Patriot Crew, apparently. Just an online store. I have a lot of my shirts from them. Not sponsored or anything. Probably should be as much as I wear this shit, but I just like the way their shirts fit. I like this one. Andrew Fay for $20. I just finished reading Project Hail Mary to get ready for the movie. It didn't end well. The conclusion felt rushed and disappointing. I really hate it when a great book falls flat at the finish line. I hope the movie's better. I've heard pretty good things from most people that have read it, but I honestly don't know too much about it. I've never read it myself. I hadn't heard too much about it before we started hearing about the movie and the trailer and stuff. So I can't say I'm any sort of fan or expert or anything like that. But that sucks that it was disappointing. Sorry about that, Andrew. Accident Seller for Norwegian 20. Carol Bouquet in For Your Eyes Only was the hottest Bond girl. I mean, the chick from Your Eyes Only was really hot. You're right. Have there been any ugly Bond girls? You're choosing from a lot of like pretty positive ones, you know. I don't count who's a black chick from the last Bond movie, Lashana Lynch. I don't count her. She's not a Bond girl. She's just like somebody that fucking works with them. She doesn't count. She's not a Bond girl. Madonna wasn't a Bond girl either. She was in the movie briefly. She was not a Bond girl. Those don't count. Bruh, John Leguizamo's pronouns are Tu Wong Fu. Thank you, Carnal. Member for 2 months. Ryan needs a Dude Wipes sponsorship like Jay. Bro, I've been using Dude Wipes for forever. Bond Girl must add to the body count. I kind of agree with that, Giggity. Like he has to fuck the Bond Girl, or there at least has to be like a legitimate like fucking makeout scene or something like that. Like there has to be that. Like there does have to be that. You do have to have that. How about Denise Richards? Denise Richards, yeah. Christmas does come in July was a good line. Fuck. Have you ever seen Tu Wong Fu? Isn't that the isn't I don't know what the actual fucking plot of the movie is, but don't they like cross dress in that movie or some shit? Like, I think Wesley Snipes is in it. They pretend to be chicks. I don't know what it's about. I just remember like briefly maybe seeing fucking it on TV or something. You know what I mean? Yep. Yeah. Yeah. John Leguizamo. I'm pretty sure Wesley Snipes was in it. Um, Maybe somebody else. Kurt Russell. Patrick. I think it might have been Swayze. I don't know if Kurt Russell was in it. Was Kurt Russell in it? Yeah. That's fucking rough. Ronan, be careful if you name drop a company. Jay might swoop in and steal the sponsorship. Yeah. He's already got a clothing line sponsorship. I think I'll be okay. I did see people are attacking Gamer Subs again. I saw this big tweet going viral about, Gamer Subs has been supporting transphobic, racist, bigoted content creators. And I was like, is that true? If that's true, I can't believe I got skipped over. How dare they? How dare they? I thought about tweeting about it, but then I figured Jay would just come in and scoop a sponsorship anyway. Live and Let Die, Rosie Terrible, a traitor and black. Jesus. Thank you, I Lucifer. Holly Goodhead. What movie's Holly Goodhead from? That doesn't like immediately ring a bell for me. Holly Goodhead. Accident Cell. Remember when Blofeld cross-dressed twice? Twice. Not particularly. They fucked up Blofeld so bad in the Daniel Craig era. It got so convoluted. It was so built up and it was so convoluted and kind of just resolved in that one day. It sucked. God, it was depressing. Should we go over Bo DeMayo's comments about Marvel? The Alien TV show comes on tomorrow. You're going to watch it? Is that a TV show? Isn't it I thought it was just a movie that was releasing on streaming. Camera died. Camera didn't die. Turned it off temporarily. John Z, well, if you don't believe what he said, what's the use? Well, I'm not saying I'm not believing what he's saying. I'm saying that you do have to consider, like, you have to take into account the source of this, and it's somebody who has a massive axe to grind. So I just think that's important to keep that in context when you're looking at everything that he's saying, especially in that very same thing that we're about to talk about, when he's talking about how Victoria Alonso is just so amazing and awesome, but Kevin Feige just treated her so poorly. Who's Victoria Alonso? Oh, that's right. She's the massive fucking lesbian activist who was at Marvel for a long time. The same Victoria Alonso who said the X-Men name is out of date because there's not only men on the team. The same Victoria Alonso who refused to do her job and edit out a pride flag in the background of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The same Victoria Alonso who went out there and said Disney's not doing enough to support LGBT and shame on Bob Iger. The same Victoria Alonso who got fired for promoting another production at the same time. That's why she got let go. But then played victim and said it's because I'm gay and Latina. So all I'm saying is that when you see these things out there, you have to keep in context where it is coming from. And that's all I'm saying when it comes to the thing from Bo. He is upset and maybe potentially very rightfully upset about the way he was treated. But I'm just saying you have to keep that shit in mind when you're going over these things. And when I see somebody praising Victoria Alonso, I'm going to say, well, I think that's kind of out of pocket and bullshit. But the one thing I will say when it comes to Bo DeMayo, he cares greatly about the source material. And I do think that that's a good thing. And I think that's an important thing. But let's get into it. Let's get into it. Accident Seller for Norwegian 50. I was wrong. Sorry. Blofeld cross-dressed in Diamonds Are Forever, but his henchman did in Thunderball pre-opening credits. Diamonds Are Forever had a fantastic song. Diamonds Are Forever is a great song. I also happen to like Kanye West's version. I do like Kanye West's version, not going to lie. Not going to lie, but let's get into some more Marvel stuff. With Fantastic Four failing at the box office, making this the third Marvel flop of the year. They're 0 for 3 at this point. Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and of course, Fantastic Four. Clearly, just as we've been saying for years, there is a problem with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Fans have been saying it, audience members have been saying it, and now even the media is slowly catching on because there's no point in denying it any longer. But also someone else is speaking out about it. And it's somebody who wrote for Marvel. It's somebody who's a showrunner on one of the most beloved projects to come out recently in X-Men 97. And it's someone who no longer works at the company. He's been putting Marvel on blast for a while, and he did so again just the other day publicly. Former Marvel writer exposes toxic Kevin Feige creative meetings in explosive X thread. Now, the person we're talking about, the person in question, is Beau DeMayo. Now, Beau DeMayo did X-Men 97 and ended up getting fired from Marvel. Now, certainly, whenever you're talking about things like this, you got to keep all this in perspective. Does Beau DeMayo have a massive axe to grind against Marvel? Yes, he does. Was the reason he was fired valid? Some of the things that came out about that? We don't know as of yet. Maybe we'll see in the future. I did stories about that. I did videos about that. You can check that out. But Beau DeMayo, who is black and who is gay, was fired by Marvel. And he has not been happy about that. He's been very vocal. And he's been very vocal criticizing a lot of aspects of the way that Kevin Feige runs this company. I just want to put that out there because it is important to know. It's not just some random person. It is somebody that definitely has an axe to grind. But with that being said, let's get into it. To those asking why I'm not so hard on Superman, the answer is I've never worked with Gunn or DC. And you do have some people that have major axes to grind with Marvel that are not, they're not having some of the similar criticisms for something like Superman that you would think, but we'll get past that. Like Matt Shakman and the writers of Fantastic Four, I've sat in the creative meetings at Marvel Studios. They're horrible. You basically sit in a room with Kevin Feige and Lou D'Esposito, and try to pitch your movie while also realizing that Kevin just wants you to dictate his rushed thoughts. Victoria used to be in these, but Kevin and Lou had so mistreated her that in one of my Blade meetings, she just showed up with sugar cookies she'd bake to help improve morale. Now, he doesn't specify the last name of Victoria, but we can all assume that that's Victoria Alonso. So when we do get into this, I think there's a lot of criticism to be had for Kevin Feige. I think he has destroyed the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, it is all on his shoulders. Maybe he's not to blame for every single thing that's happened, but at the end of the day, the buck stops with him. He is the one to blame. But Victoria Alonso was a big part of the problem too. Victoria Alonso, who was also fired from Marvel, and she claimed, it's because I'm gay and a Latino woman, that's why. She's a massive woke activist. This is the same person who said that the X-Men name is outdated because there's women on that team too. This is the same person that refused to do their job and edit out the pride flags in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania because she's gay. I'm not going to edit that out. How dare I? She's the same one who went on stage and publicly slammed Disney and her bosses for not doing enough to promote gay bullshit in Disney, right? This is who Victoria Alonso is. So Beau's defending her, I suppose, in all of this. You're even told not, but this is what I want to get to, because whatever you want to say about this or whatever an axe to grind, the one thing that Beau DeMayo has always been very, very consistent about, which I really appreciate because it's not there very often nowadays in the writers' rooms. He cares about the source material. He cared about it when he was doing the dog shit Witcher show. He made comments about it and how there was a lot of problems with that show because they departed so much from the source material. And he wanted very much to be true to the source material for X-Men 97. And that is something he's passionate about. So I do respect when he talks about that. You're even told not to try to pitch ideas from the comics because Lou isn't a big comic guy and it'll turn him off. You just sit there and talk craft and story of the characters, only to have Kevin and Lou say, yeah, well, all we need to do is make sure it's fun, etc., etc. There's no spark. There's no vision. Marvel's a slaughterhouse factory where you watch fresh meat get spoiled as it slowly makes its way through the assembly of gears and mediocre thinking and this weird hatred for their own product. This is why Rob Liefeld isn't just some bitter old man talking about the comic book writers is met with open contempt. I had to fight to get the Lulds involved in X-Men 97, and even then, the dismissive news to which Dana Vasquez Ebart spoke about them basically tell me the OG creators were meant to be seen and not heard to appease the fans. I wanted to co-write an episode with them, and that was Dana's response. I even remember wanting to talk to Chris Claremont, great X-Men writer, and being shut down, or not wanting Joe Maduria to do posters, just as I was scolded for being too friendly with fans or coming off as too much of one. This was in a meeting where I pitched that we could use Blade as a chance to pick up the dangling threads from Doctor Strange when it came to Wanda and the Darkhold. We could use Varney and the Darkhold cultists. So he's talking about in depth some of the conversations he's had, that they don't like the comics. They don't like the comics. They don't respect the comics. They don't like the writers. They don't like the stories. They just want to put a product out regardless of whether it goes against all the decades and decades of Marvel comics in history. Like, that's what this is all about. One of my drafts will be with Deacon Frost, tricking some British explorers to track up Mount Wugador, where he does blood magic to reveal the vampire spell used by Varney. There's a lot in here, right? He's explaining in depth the things he wanted to do to maybe wrap up some of these threads that are still open in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. To Kevin's credit, he liked the idea, as well as my pitch that magic is to Blade what snakes are to Indiana Jones. He hates magic. But then Lou felt it was too comic booky, while Mahershala Ali bumped on there being magic in the film tonally. Then I watched as them and Nate Moore picked it apart where we were off to a new draft. It's a broken machine, and so I can see where Matt and his team probably had great ideas, only for Marvel's arrogance to destroy them. This has been a concerted thing from Bo DeMeo over the past year plus, basically since he got fired, right? He's been very openly, adamantly talking about the problems with Marvel. Does he have an axe to grind? Yes, he does. Certainly he does. But it doesn't change the reality that there is a problem at Marvel. There has been for years now, for years and years. Before we actually started to see some of these negative effects of the box office, there was a problem. It was back in 2018 when Kevin Feige said that, hey, we want more female heroes and villains than male in the MCU because we care so much about diversity and representation and all of this bullshit. So you shoved aside decades and decades of good stories you could tell to fast forward characters that had no business being in these television shows or movies or whatever to satisfy your quotas. And you can think whatever you want about Bo DeMeo, but he does and has basically for years shown he has a reverence for the source material. That is something that Marvel could do with more of. X-Men 97 is one of the only almost completely positively reviewed things that has been out, and now Bo DeMeo's not going to be on season 2. But certainly put them on blast, the way Kevin Feige runs the company, the way how executives just kind of slow everything down and they put out dog shit product because they don't care about some of the people that have knowledge of these subjects, knowledge of the lore, and ideas for what Marvel could do in the future. Doesn't make it too far in the Marvel creative meeting rooms. Kyle Reese says, Ryan, do you like chicks with dicks? No. Is that a sufficient response? Ryan is Bond, Liz Wes's girl. Please no. Mike Hill, weapons, unlike Fantastic Four, was lucky to not have Pedro Pascal in the cast. They dodged a bullet, bros. They dodged a bullet. Ronan says, I missed the Bond film Eva Green was in, Casino Royale. She was Vesper Lynn. Gosh, she was good. Tiger King Rex Carter says, Ryan, I despise Star Wars. I despise Star Wars now. Jesus Davila with the gifted membership. Thank you, Jesus. Mr. Zeeb received a gifted membership. What do you think the chances are that Deadpool and Wolverine are in Avengers Doomsday? 95%, 100% that between Doomsday and Secret Wars they will be in it. But 95%. What do you think of UFC and Paramount Plus deal? It's fucking huge. Dude, no pay-per-views anymore? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a lot of money. $7.7 billion over 7 years for UFC. Now, one of the reasons it's such a huge step up is obviously because the pay-per-view is not going to be a thing anymore. I love that. And we're paying for fucking fights and we're paying $70. And you have to wonder, well, if it's pirating is a huge issue for them on pay-per-views. Pirating will still be an issue if it's streamed for free on Paramount Plus, but you have to wonder if it's not, are people going to go to that much of a hassle if I already have Paramount Plus, blah, 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 or am I, $8 a month, whatever, that's fine to watch all the fucking UFC fights. I think there would be more people that actually watch it on platform as opposed to the pirating for pay-per-views. People are still going to pirate no matter what, but I like Paramount Plus. I think there's a decent amount of good original shows that they put out on there. I hope you get paid time off and a half. I don't get paid time off. What the fuck you think this is? You think I'm in a union or something? When I'm off, I don't get paid. I don't just mean just for geeks. I just mean YouTube in general. You know what I mean? Paid time off. I'm gonna start striking. Do I get insurance? Well, I get insurance because I pay for it. I'm self-employed, basically, right? I'm self-employed, so I pay, out of pocket for. I have insurance. Yes. Oh, you said paid time and a half, not paid time off. Paid time and a half putting up with Jay's DEF CON level 3 weaponized retardation during daily. I don't know. Sometimes it's worse to do daily with Jeremy, to be honest with you. Dr. K. You retired at 40? That must be nice, Dr. K. I got a pretty good. It's certainly not fun, paying out of pocket for your insurance. I found a pretty good insurance provider, though. I feel like anyway, good bang for the buck. Because I never need to go to the fucking doctor, so whatever. Maximus BT for 199. Are you retarded? Maybe. Ryan's gay hair. Does Jeremy pay you well? Jeremy pays me exactly what I'm worth. Yeah, he pays me well. Who would win in a fight? Prime Brock Lesnar or Floyd Mayweather? What kind of question is that? Well, one, it's going to depend what the fight is. But if it's a fight, yeah, of course Brock Lesnar is going to destroy Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, he is twice his weight, if not more. If it's some bullshit like boxing, dumb, stupid rules that's fucking rigged, then who knows? But yeah, Brock Lesnar. Brock. Rachel Green for $10. You are the male version of me. I sleep to Potter. Moose Tracks is my fave. Oh, Moose Tracks ice cream. Rachel, yes. Taco Bell, feisty, no filter mouth, and I need that shirt because whiskey. That I found the female version of me. What's up, Rachel? With a buck as your profile picture. I knew you're out there somewhere. I haven't had Taco Bell in a while. I'm due. I'm due for some Taco Bell, to be real. And now I'm due. You guys keep talking about my fucking shirt. I'm due for some whiskey. It's sitting here like the fucking Green Goblin. You know you want me. Like it's fucking just looking at me. I don't need any tonight. Ryan's gay hair for $2, so you're worth nothing. Yes, exactly. I am worth absolutely nothing. Ladybug says, Sam, I like you because you and I talk a lot alike. It's very off-putting to everyone else. It is. Yeah. Nobody else understands us, do they? When I'm just dropping F-bombs and shit. Come on. Metal Slave, member for 2 years. Yo quiero Taco Bell. I really want some fucking Taco Bell now. I've already got food ready. I've already got food ready for tonight. Okay. So I can't, but maybe tomorrow though. Maybe tomorrow. That actually does sound good. You like chalupas? I mean, I like everything at Taco Bell. Almost everything. I'm topping Jeremy's contract. Come to me with an offer. If it's too good to refuse, it'd just be Jay on daily tomorrow. You know, Blue-Eyed Scorpio. Oh, that was it? It was $2? That's it? Come on. Did you guys see this Obi-Wan Kenobi story that was going on? That might be something I want to talk about real quick. Taco Tuesday's real. Make your beef tacos with red wine and chicken fajitas with beer. I'll be honest, like, I get really fucking just tired of making my own food, dude. I just get fucking sick of making my own food constantly. Because then I got to clean after. That's the worst. How to fucking clean your shit. Oh, that is the absolute worst. Let's talk about this Obi-Wan bullshit. You have a hard day job. I have to put up with Jay and Jeremy, of course. Of course, that's rough. Accident seller for 20. Ryan Hunt, this super chat will self-destruct in 10 seconds. If I choose to read it. If I choose to read it. That's right. Yes, this story started making the rounds the other day. I figure we got to talk about it. I figure we got to talk about this shit. Yesterday, a big story started to go viral from Disney Star Wars, and it was about Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, appearing in Ahsoka Season 2. And just off the bat, when I heard about this, I rolled my eyes because why not? Why wouldn't they do something so profoundly stupid? Why wouldn't they shove another character into the Ahsoka series? Why wouldn't they bring Obi-Wan Kenobi back again to desecrate his legacy after they've already done so much damage? And it did not take long before this report started getting echoed by every single big Star Wars account that's out there. Ewan McGregor has confirmed he will return as Obi-Wan Kenobi in Ahsoka Season 2. The only problem with this report is that it's not what Ewan McGregor said at all. In fact, you can see community noted already, and we're going to get into that. It's not real, but you can't blame people for believing it, to be honest with you. Why wouldn't they do something like this? Why wouldn't they just throw him in there? Why wouldn't we do another flashback? Why wouldn't we just do desperate fucking cameos to try to pull people in that really have no reason to be there? Why wouldn't we pull more characters that people care about to try to desperately convince them to watch a show that is absolute hot garbage like fucking Ahsoka? But luckily, it's not happening. Ewan McGregor not returning for Ahsoka Season 2, despite the rumors. Recently, a wave of speculation swept through fan communities after reports surfaced claiming Ewan McGregor would reprise his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi in the upcoming second season of Disney Plus's Ahsoka. The rumor originated from McGregor's appearance at Fan Expo Boston, where he allegedly confirmed his involvement during a Q&A panel. Now, what the report says he said was this: I began filming on that Ahsoka Season 2 of Ahsoka soon. He then reportedly paused. Was I supposed to say that? Was it something you knew? The problem is that's not exactly what he said. For people that don't know, he's married to the actress who plays Hera, who is in Ahsoka Season 2. He was talking about her, and this got completely thrown way out of whack and got everywhere. 24 hours of people thinking that Ewan McGregor was returning to Star Wars again to play Obi-Wan in the Ahsoka series. Here is the full transcript of this, because obviously once it started going viral, Lucasfilm themselves actually reached out to people like, this is actually not the case. This is not true. This is what happened. Well, I like watching with my wife, so I really enjoyed Ahsoka. I thought that was brilliantly done. It's so funny. She's shooting the second season now, and I know, is that a secret? He's talking about his wife. He's talking about he likes watching Ahsoka because she's in it. He likes watching. It's just so funny. What a great show. God, the show's fucking hot garbage. That's what he said. Well, she is anyway. She is filming Ahsoka Season 2. And yes, that's not a surprise. Hera Syndulla will be in Ahsoka. It does show you, though, how quickly some of the stuff like this can just go around. You know what I mean? And just because Star Wars Holocron or somebody tweets something doesn't necessarily mean that's what he said, which is why I always try to find if there's video or whatever. Sometimes all you have to go off is the reports. Sometimes that's all you have are just the reports of the tweets that are out there. Luckily, they got in front of this one quick enough that all the people that were either really excited to see another fucking key jangling bullshit moment from Disney Star Wars or were pissed that once again they're going to do something so profoundly stupid. Everybody can calm down. As of right now, Ewan McGregor not returning to desecrate the legacy of his character anymore, but there's always the future. And this always is Disney Star Wars. And whenever you hear something like this, the first thing that comes to mind is, you know what? It could happen because this is Disney Star Wars. This is Dave Filoni. This is Kathleen Kennedy. They've been putting out so much shit that at this point, nothing can surprise you. Everyone's putting out in the chat how they make tacos or some shit. Sean Greenstein is a great actor, but turning him an asshole. I don't know what asshole-ish things he's done. Look, he did get the memo from Lucasfilm to be like, hey, there's racist things about your co-star. Can you put out a video in your car? He did that. I mean, I don't know other than that. Darth Miller for $20. Hey, Ryan, gonna pull a J and derail things for a minute. PSA, everyone keep an eye on your parents when they get older and lose their spouse. Found out today my mom got swindled after my dad died. Take care, everyone. Well, that sucks. I mean, that's probably a good PSA, though, especially with the ages of the people we know are in the chat. A lot of people's parents probably getting a little bit up there. We have to start wondering. And, I get so many fucking spam calls and spam texts like that are clear tricks and trying to get you to give the information or trying to get you to click on a link. I can see how older people get fucked by that all the time. I can see that. Oh, cheating on his wife. Well, yeah. I thought you were talking about like as an actor towards fans or whatever. That's like that is what that is. I thought you were talking about you're like, oh, he's a great actor, but he turned into an asshole. Like I'm not really thinking about that when I'm thinking about somebody as an actor, to be honest. This is Hollywood. All of them are fucking everyone. Yes, Dr. K. What the fuck? What's up with those? I get those all the time. And I use the Easy Pat. I use it all the time. It's like you have $15 overdue and you have to pay it in the next 24 hours. Like, what the fuck? But yes, thank you for the reminder to keep an eye on our parents, Darth Miller. Mr. Zeeb for 5. Is this the right channel where I pay lurker taxes to? It is now. I think that was that like is that some epic Mike meme or some bullshit? I don't care where it's from, but yes, this is 100% the right channel. All lurker taxes should be paid right here. Let's see. Drew Forch for $10. Keep up the good work, Ryan. And Dave Filoni is gay. Dave Filoni is very gay. Indeed. Tommy Campari for 5. As one of my favorite characters, Disney's Obi was so painful to see. Another childhood hero turned into a pathetic loser, weak, no drive, no charisma. I think Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of the more damaging things we've seen for Disney Star Wars, period. Like, I think there was a couple, like, Last Jedi was certainly a watershed moment for a lot of fans that gave up after that. I think Kenobi series was as well. I really think it was. Because despite some of the bad shit that come out, despite the criticism, despite the questioning, would this be good? There was still a lot of people that got themselves hyped for it because they still love Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. And they love Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. And I think they were really let down by it. I think they were very, very let down by it. Jose Contreras for $1. Ryan, so you're talking about in a fight, how many 5-year-olds can you defeat before you get taken over by them? It's a fight to the death. That's such like a weird how many 5-year-olds? I don't know. Like 60 of them. Grab one by the leg, start using them as a club or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. Kevin from Michigan for $5. Any chance you could stream with Mark the Cyborg sometime soon? I don't know. It depends what Mark's up to. It depends if he's playing a game I'm playing. But shout out Mark. Mark Cyborg is awesome. I miss seeing him around. You always seem to have good chemistry with X-Ray Girl. Well, I have good chemistry with everybody I stream with, for the most part. Jeremy, Jay, Gary, Az. But thank you. Tom C for $5. I love to know what killed the mind of our beloved Corbin Dallas, says Tom C. What killed the mind? Corbin Dallas. Oh, Fifth Element. I was like, who's Corbin Dallas? Like the name sounds familiar. I mean, doesn't he have dementia? Doesn't Bruce Willis have dementia? Oh. Well, look, everybody that I stream with on a regular basis, especially Vera, says Wingform. Some people like to say that. Some people might think that. Tommy Campari. Love calling up these random scam texts when I'm drunk and being obnoxious. Silly voices and doing everything they want the wrong way. I don't waste my fucking time with them. Hollow Point. You got into the I see. Yeah, you and Vera have strains of good chemistry. You know what? We were supposed to do a stream. I'm just saying. You guys that should actually bully the shit out of her. Not really, but you should bully the shit out of her for in a loving manner, not in an abusive manner. YouTube terms of service. I'm just joking. But you should, because we're thinking about doing a stream. And then she's like, oh, I'm just too busy. I can't. I've got so many things to do. Just saying. You could have had more of that, more of us on stream together. She shut it down. She's playing hard to get. Yeah. My boy got covered by Asman. Who, me? You talking about me? Asmongold's reacted to a handful of my videos, and I always appreciate it when he does. My favorite video that he watched of mine was, I think, the Lizzo South Park one. That was my favorite one. No lie. The Good White. An unarmed Captain America MCU replaces Rob Stark at the Red Wedding. Can he fight his way out? Unarmed. So he doesn't have a shield? Oh, that's cool. I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea how to fucking say your name. Is it packed up? It's a lot of weird fucking words in there. But yeah, that's cool. Shout out to Asmongold. What was I gonna say? Oh, the Rob Stark thing. Yeah, I think Captain America could fight his fucking way out of the Red Wedding. Yeah, I don't even think that's like that much of a question. Now, if you mean unarmed, like he has no weapons, then yes, he could. If you mean unarmed, like he's had his arms chopped off, like he's an armless man, if that's what you mean by unarmed, then probably not. But help Ryan stop his eviction. Who's getting evicted? If I was getting evicted, I'd definitely want you guys to help. Mr. Zeeb for 5. Ryan, Do you have any strong opinions on overweight sailors, including the leadership, who can never pass the PRT? Yeah, they're fat fucks and they're losers and they're poor examples. And the thing that makes it worse is when you have fat fucks in leadership who can't pass the PRT, but they are, getting guys to write down the right number for their rope and choke, or they're getting guys to count their push-ups or whatever. Like when they're just lying to get past it, which a lot of people do. A lot of people do. Can't deny it. But when you see them and they're doing that, yet they're the ones who are signing the things to put people on FEP programs or, E3s, E4s, E5s and shit. That's the thing that pisses you off. That's the thing that pisses you off. It was wild when I heard that, because after I was still in during some of the COVID stuff. I got out September of 2021, which we had some changes due to COVID. I think we had a PRT delayed because of that and shit. Apparently they're only doing it like once a year now. That's a rumor I heard. I don't know if that's real or not, but holy shit. Now that people only need to be under their weight once a year, it's going to make things even worse. Accident Seller. I would love Asmongold on FNT. It would be a goat episode. I don't know if he would have any. Oh, Ryan sucks at grifting. Yeah, please. I don't want to get evicted, please. Money. Yeah, once a year. But the Asmongold, like, I don't think that he would be. I'm gonna be real. FNT is not for everybody. In terms of being on a very fucking chaotic 10-person stream that goes for several hours, talking over people, it's rough, It's that is, I don't know if that would have any interest for him at all. It's a strange streaming experience. FNT hasn't been good since Az left. I disagree, Darth Ghostface. It was better after he left, but he's been back for like 8 fucking months. So now it's worse again. Now, shout out to Az, but he's been back for a long time. He's been back for a long time. But guys, I think that's it. We went over 2 hours today. We just kept going and going and going and going and going. What tree would Ryan be if he was buried in a bag? I don't know. I don't want to be a fucking tree if I die. I don't want to be a fucking tree. Nobody wants that. Let's see what's going on here. Is Jeremy live? You know what? Actually, I see Biggles Metz is live. I have no idea what Biggles is talking about. Apparently, food court perfection something. I tell you what, Biggles is a great dude. He's been a supporter of my channel for fucking forever, and I see that he's live right now. And he has almost nobody watching him. So we're gonna see if maybe we can say hi to him. I'm gonna try to do that a little more when I see other people. And Biggles has truly been around for like forever. So I would. And if you guys just want to stop, say hi. If you're interested, that's cool. Jeremy is live as well. I know a lot of you guys are probably going to head over there. So do want to mention that Jeremy's live too. I think he just went live recently. So absolutely go check Jeremy out too. But Biggles, he's only streaming to like 6 people right now. I think it would be fun to go in and just, why won't it let me do this? Biggles. You guys can see him on my supporter stream sometimes. I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Food Court Perfection. I hope it's not some weird shit, but I am going to send you guys there because I think that will be, he'll get a kick out of that. He'll get a kick out of that. Tiger King Rex Carter for 199. Homeless Ryan Fund. Thank you. Appreciate it. I Lucifer for 2. Any actor you can have dinner with and why? Any actor? Mel Gibson. Obvious reasons. D's Webos. Lily Gaddis should be on FNT. Lily Gaddis, you think so? Well, thank you. These Webos. That's it, guys. I'm out of here. Hope everybody has a good night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.